Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, I am going to do one more video and add this to the playlist. This is the number 8 video in the playlist. Um, Now this one is, we're supposed to find the exact value for x by completing the square. I'm not going to complete the square. I'm going to use the quadratic formula instead, and that's how I'm going to answer this. So let's just go. And so if we answer this um, without doing the completing the square, the most we could get is 1 point, but that's what we're going for. We're going for this 1 point. Let me underline the keyword. I said this in the last video. Whenever they say exact, that means they don't want decimals. They don't. So if this solution is irrational, you cannot calculate. You can't calculate the square root. You got to leave the square root in the solution because otherwise it's not exact. Okay, so let's just go. So we know that the A term is going to be 1. We know the B term is going to be a -8. We know the C term is going to be a -5. So now, because I know that this needs to be exact, I'm not going to use insolve. I'm just going to type in, I'm just going to put the quadratic formula in there, and then I'm going to simplify what's inside the square root, and then leave that, and that'll be the solution. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go x equals a -8 plus or minus, let's make that black, plus or minus the square root of, and inside I am going to put a -8 squared minus 4 times 1 times a -5. And then on the bottom is going to be 2 times 1. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify all of these, and then I'm going to calculate everything inside here, and I'm just going to leave that. So watch what I do. Go to the calculator. I'm going to do store 1 into A. I'm going to do a -8. And I'm going to store that into B. And then I'm going to take a -5 and store that into C. Where is C? Boom, done. Now, the only thing I need to calculate is the B squared, the part under the square root. So I'm going to do B squared minus 4 times A times C, and I get 84. So let's show you how you would write the solution. So let me move this over. So now all I'm going to do is I am going to go x is equal to a negative and a negative. This is going to be a +8 plus or minus. And then inside the square root, that's what I calculated, 84. So I would just put, I'm going to make this red so you can see it. I'm going to put 84 in there. And then on the bottom, 2 times 1 is just 2. That would be my solution. That's the solution. Now, they didn't say that we had to simplify this. So this is exact. It's not simplified, but it is exact. We have a fraction with a square root of 84. That's going to be an irrational number. If we actually were to calculate this, we would get, I'll show you what we would get. So if we were to do this, we would have control divide. This would be 8 plus or minus. We're just going to do the plus part. And then we're going to do square root of, that's going to be B squared minus 4 times A times C. And then on the bottom, we just do 2A, press enter. And see, that's got a decimal that doesn't have a repeating pattern but goes on forever. This is not what you want. They don't want a decimal. They want it as a fraction, which is why we just left it with the square root of 84. The square root of 84 is what makes this decimal part, this irrational part. So we don't want that. So you would leave the square root as the square root. So, and the way you get that square root part is you just take what's inside of here, the b squared minus 4ac, and you just calculate it. Once you've stored those numbers, you just calculate it. Whatever that number is, that's what you leave in the square, that's what you leave in the answer. And that's it. This would be +1. And the only reason we didn't get the other point is that we didn't complete the square, but we used the quadratic formula to get the answer. All right, so that's it. And I hope that this is clear. And to be honest, I hope we don't have a quadratic where they ask you for the exact values, because I know that a lot of you are just used to using insolve. But unfortunately, this is the only time that we cannot use insolve. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up, post it.